It's roster cutdown season for the NFL, and we caught some big news yesterday. One team in particular, the Green Bay Packers, sent A.J. Dillon to injured reserve. MarShawn Lloyd's not going to injured reserve as he was dealing with a hamstring issue throughout training camp, and his stock went on the rise yesterday. A lot of people talking up MarShawn Lloyd, a lot of people asking about MarShawn Lloyd. We're going to do a deep dive today to see whether or not you need him for fantasy football. But before we do that, you need to click that subscribe button. Just take your thumb, move it over a little bit, click that subscribe button. Stop missing out because we're doing these deep dives every single day on these players. In season, it will be on the waiver wire players, the guys changing their situations, if they rise or fall down the depth chart. On top of that, we're helping you set your waivers with videos, and on top of that, we're helping you set your lineups with videos. Click that button, stop missing out. A.J. Dillon, season-ending injured reserve due to a neck injury. This opens up a lot of possibilities for MarShawn Lloyd. Also, Josh Jacobs, we'll talk about him as well, but MarShawn Lloyd was dealing with a hamstring injury, and he avoids the IR. He will be on the 53. He'll be good to go. We'll see the touches. But we'll see how we want to evaluate him for fantasy football as we look at the data. But going back to his high school days, he was a big-time running back prospect over at 24/7 Sports. 4-star prospect, ranked 8th in the class among running backs, 5th in the composite. Big-time collegiate programs were after him. Alabama, South Carolina, Clemson, Florida, many other top-tier Power 5 programs. Almost went to Georgia, almost went to Penn State, as you see by the crystal ball. But went to South Carolina. As you know, we eventually transferred to USC. Ran a 4.51 40-yard dash, 37.9 vertical. Back in the high school days, they had him compared to Frank Gore because he's a physical runner. And then at South Carolina, things just didn't really materialize. We had some injuries baked in during that time, and then eventually we transferred to USC. We rushed for 820 yards, averaged 7.1 yards per carry. We caught 13 balls. Caleb Williams doesn't really check the ball down, but when we got to the Senior Bowl, he showcased that he's capable of catching the ball out of the backfield. We had some big moments throughout his collegiate career. One thing you can really say is his production profile isn't really too far up the snuff. It's not super elite, but he did have some moments against Cal, Arizona State, Kentucky. He was productive a little bit in the SEC prior to the injury. He showed some potential, and then at USC, he showed some potential as well. But 3.97 yards after contact per attempt last season. And then the year prior in the SEC, 4.05 yards after contact per attempt, forcing a lot of missed tackles. He only played part of the season in 2022, but still forced 39 missed tackles. In 2023, it was 47. And he's solid after the catch all 3 years in double digits yards after the catch per reception. Big time last season, 16.3 with as long of 54 yards though, so that was kind of buoyed. Remember, he only caught 13 balls the year prior at 10.8 and then 14 in 2021. That is indicative of his speed and burst and his ability to eat up space that is given to him. So that is a good thing to note when you see him with the ball in his hands. And then you look at what he did at the combine. 4.46 40-yard dash at 220 pounds. He's good between the tackles. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's very effective in open space. He's got a lot of upside in that department. A little bit more raw as a runner, but also with good vision. Like, there's some upside here with this running back. Ball security and everything else intact as well. A.J. Dillon, I crossed him out because he's going to injured reserve. Nobody had the depth charts updated yet. But MarShawn Lloyd is next in line behind Josh Jacobs. The thing about Josh Jacobs is he's probably going to be getting a lot of the rock. He's probably going to get ran until the wheels fell off. This is probably going to be Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs when it comes to volume, workload, and touches. They're probably going to use him. They brought him in to use him. He's going to get a lot of workload. MarShawn Lloyd, though, by default, is going to get some touches. He's going to get some work. I believe Josh Jacobs is going to get a lot of run. That could be good. That could be bad. That could be him falling off by like week 5 with injuries because we know what happens to running backs. Last year, they encountered injuries at the running back position. They're already encountering injuries at the running back position. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought anybody in However, if they brought anybody in, it's not like there's good running backs just sitting there that have tons of upside who could really turn a team around. Because Dalvin Cook just got signed with the Cowboys, and a lot of people are down on that. But Josh Jacobs here, I look for him to get a lot of touches. I look for him to be the run game. However, running backs break down, and this is a good offense. You may want that MarShawn Lloyd with your last pick in your draft. And he may not be a last pick in your draft much longer because he's rising in ADP now, because he was dumpster diving ADP over the last month or so because of the hamstring, because of the potential that he could be on IR. And if you're on IR, you're pretty much worthless on Underdog Fantasy. But the market's saying, hey, we don't like the injury. We don't like that he could be going to IR due to the hamstring injury. A lot of beat writers were talking that up. He avoided it. He's going to be rising in ADP over the weekend. In your home league drafts, there's no ADP. ADP is whatever happens in your backyard while you're drinking Coors Lights while drafting these players. But he's a rookie running back with some upside, with some speed to go, and he's 220 pounds, running low 4.4s. If he sees a crack of daylight in the offensive line and Josh Jacobs is banged up, he might get you some big games. He might catch some big moments throughout the season. You never know. This is a handcuffed running back. He should be valued as a lottery ticket. And now you're looking at him in basic fantasy leagues, multi-site ADP, averaged out for ESPN, Yahoo, and NFL.com. You're seeing him still go in the 14th round. And this isn't accounting for ADP reacting to the news from yesterday. This is ADP that has some of yesterday in it, but not much. Not enough to affect him going up the board. He's probably going to be around 12-ish range. He's probably going to be around there, maybe 11, 10 in your drafts. Maybe there. That's probably where he should go. 12-ish, 11-ish. That's probably where he should go. If you catch him any cheaper than that, I believe you got him at a discount. Probably the Jalen Wright area, but he's only got one running back really to mess with right now that could go down, and he's the guy by default, and he'll get opportunities, possibly. That being said, size adjust athleticism-wise, he's got a lot of upside to his name, and he's a lottery ticket. And the thing about running backs, they just gotta wait for the starter to get hurt. And those guys with a ton of upside sitting on the back end of rosters there as the backup to the RB1, and you see they got a lot of potential, those are the lottery tickets to get. But you don't need them. You don't want them because you want a different lottery ticket. You want to go after that wide receiver. You want Jalen Wright. He didn't fall to you. You didn't want to pay up for him. That all makes sense. You do want him because you want a cheap lottery ticket running back with a lot of upside in a good offense, playing behind a running back that's going to get a lot of workload. He's going to be getting a lot of opportunities. And running backs get hurt. They get a lot of touches. That's just part of the game. You can't project it. You can't forecast it. But the odds is immense for that. But Josh Jacobs is looking to get a lot of workload. So this is also a Josh Jacobs video because I'm saying, hey, if you're catching him at a discount, be happy about it because he's going to be getting a lot of touches. And then you got MarShawn Lloyd right behind him. Probably going to get some touches by default, but you're waiting to see if he gets his opportunity. But it's more likely if he does, that's going to be very potent with a lot of workload due to A.J. Dillon out of the picture. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.